Monday, April 14th, market analysis. Stan Ehrlich, good morning. Sorry about my late recording on Friday. I had other important obligations. So on time this morning, we start out with stock market indexes and go to futures, and I got a couple stocks, including Apple. Now, we started out Sunday afternoon relatively stable, had a little bit of a rally. Actually, it was pretty good. It got above the highs of Friday and in some cases above the highs of Thursday and Friday. But during the night and this morning in particular, things fell apart a bit and we actually got down to lower on the day. Not by much, just by a little, basically unchanged. And now we're bouncing back up a little bit. Now, when you go down from 10 higher on the day to around unchanged, that's not a small dip. Although in the last 3 weeks or so, it seems sort of normal, but it's fairly sizable historically. So we still have a lot of volatility. We still have apparently a lot of uncertainty. Goes without saying, I guess. Pretty obvious, but you see it in the charts also. And that makes things a little bit unusual, let's say. I think that break from about 10 higher to unchanged did not necessarily do a lot of damage. We have rallied up to my first upside objectives that I started talking about when we started to see bullish engulfings or bottoming out type of price action on Monday of last week, when the QQQ actually did have a bullish ER buy signal. But it was Wednesday when the rest of the indexes, except for the SPY, it's the only one that doesn't have a buy signal. So Wednesday was the buy signals, and we came up at the same day, almost to the resistance areas that I have outlined and I had on the screen before the rally, talked about those levels. Now, there is still the buy signals. They are still in effect, and I have no qualms. I have no problems thinking that the market can still get up to about, in the case of the E-mini, maybe 58.25-ish. That's another significant area of resistance. I'll lower it a little bit. I'll call it 58, period, or a little bit higher. But I don't think we have a long-term, intermediate-term bottom, short-term, more than just 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and today. And today's not particularly great. There's no new highs. We came up close to the Thursday, Friday high and pulled back. Right now, up 2 or 3 points, which is not very strong. Let's look at the short-term chart. Here we go. So at 6:30 California time, the market was basically at its highs. So immediately after the regular session opening, probably some new news, a government report, something along those lines. Remember, I am not a fundamentalist or fundamentalist, so I don't necessarily pay a lot of attention to that. Came down to a minor support on a 1-minute chart, did not make a new high, and then broke down a bit. Now, all of the rallies we've seen since a minor downside breakout at 8:30 this morning, California time, have been only back up to the resistance. Again, pretty minor, very short-term analysis stuff. Doesn't produce any big bullish or bearish results commentary-wise. I suppose we could get down to unchanged again and even start to make new lows. But if we happen to be getting below Friday's lows, we will have a bearish engulfing and more likely than not close lower than Friday's close, because that's going to be down a chunk. What was that, maybe 20? So it doesn't look particularly likely. But again, the volatility has been increasing and is very, very high. So you can't turn your back on these markets these days because of the uncertainty of situations. Therefore, automated trading systems are great, like we have right here. And You don't have to make a decision on a split second. Drive you nuts with these kinds of markets. So I am basically bearish, intermediate to longer term. I do think we're going to make new lows to the whole trend, but the big question is, do we have one more pop rally up to 58 approximately? And the 1 minute. Now, what about the S&P, SPY? Basically the same answer. Up to 575-ish is not outside of expectations, but I don't trust these moves on the upside at this point. We've gotten up to my first objective already, and that was 550, and that was on Tuesday's rally. And it tried it again on Friday, but couldn't do it. And you'll notice no green here. So we did not have a bullish engulfing buy signal in the spider at all last week, but all of the other indexes did. So we've got a rally that's kind of failing at the moment, but we're still higher on the day by a couple of points. But boy, that could disappear in a matter of a minute or two pretty quickly and easily these days. Let's look at the 1 minute chart. Remember, this starts trading at 6:30 California time. Couldn't make a higher high than last week's rally high, and then sank back, but stable momentarily. QQQ did have a bullish engulfing, and it's the only one that did it on Monday of last week. Everything else, all the others were on Wednesday. So we've got a bullish engulfing at the very bottom of the market on the QQQ. Perfect. It has had a very, very substantial rally only in 2 days. Great. It just got up to the beginning of resistance and stopped, pulled back Thursday, Friday, and today tried again, and then pulled back to almost unchanged right now. I wouldn't call it doing great at the moment. We wouldn't have too much trouble getting below Friday's lows. Then you'd have a bearish engulfing, but no red sell signal because you didn't get overbought. Nevertheless, a bearish engulfing implies that the market is going to start to slide some. And we're already coming down substantially. A lot, frankly. You got to keep things in perspective. We came down from 540 all the way down to 402 in the matter of a month. Percentage-wise, huge. 5 minute chart, 1 minute chart, couldn't make the new high. Broke back, tried again, didn't do it, came back to around unchanged. And that's about where we are, just a little bit higher at the moment. Next, we've got the NASDAQ. Now there's your Wednesday bullish engulfing. We didn't catch the low of the whole break. Close, as far as the lowest low is concerned. That's not where we bought it. We did buy it when it started to make the higher high than the previous day here. And that gave us plenty of elbow room in this case from that point 18,390-ish, all the way up to the high of the day to make some money, and it apparently did make some money on the scalp. I can see my little markers right there. So Thursday and Friday, Thursday a pullback, Friday a little bit more of a strength, and we didn't make so far higher highs than last week this morning. And again, we're just about unchanged, just a hair higher on the day. Okay. The 1 minute on the NASDAQ. If I'm going to get up to my next upside objective on the NASDAQ, which is probably going to be, I'll call it 20, let's call it 2,400, right around there. Yeah. I hope we have no bearish engulfing today. I hope we have a higher close, even if it's a couple of points like right now, would be okay. Stronger the better. In particular, closing above the highs of last week, which was basically Wednesday, Thursday. All right, now we got the 1 minute NASDAQ. The YM Dow Jones had its bullish engulfing on Wednesday of last week. It did make a slightly higher high on Thursday of last week, and then came back up some with a doji on Friday, and now we're a little bit higher again. But it did get lower on the day by a significant amount already. So it looks like it's kind of leading the way down on the breaks. But again, a bounce to slightly higher right now. Not particularly confident about what's going to happen in the next couple hours. It could be up or down, well, gosh, 5 points either way. But in general, a rally up to 42,500 might still be in the works, but I don't think much more. And I do expect new lows for the trend, let's say in the next couple of weeks, and it might be a lot faster than that, considering, again, the volatility. Might even increase. ATR stands for average true range, and it's a measure of how high and low the market is swinging and the close to close changes day by day. So when that number gets higher and higher, we've got increasing volatility, and it sure as hell has jumped a lot. Next, 1 minute chart. Dow looks like the others, got up to resistance, stopped, pulled back a little bit this morning. Next, we got the bullish engulfing on the Russell on Wednesday. We did not have a higher high on Thursday, and then Friday we had that dip. And today we're a little higher than Friday, but nowhere near last week's highs, and up a little on the day at the moment. So it could go either way here. But I just don't necessarily want a bearish engulfing today, because that would cause me to look for new lows right away for the whole trend down. We did get the exact low day, Wednesday of last week, for this break. So far, perfect. Just don't have the upside follow through that I was expecting and still do. I just don't think it's going to go very far. I don't think this is going to be a major bottom. Sometimes I will say that with other circumstances applying. Now, this bounced off support real good, and the Russell doesn't act like the rest. So it just might stay here or move up a lot slower while some of the other indexes move down some. Can't tell at the moment, really. And then 1 minute. Now, bonds. Up a slight bit this morning, 18 or so. Have a little tiny double bottom last week. Maybe that's going to develop into something really good. Not quite sure yet. Long-term bull trend line coming up slowly under what really is a very broad 1.5 year double bottom potentially. But for that to work, you have to start closing above the highest high between the two lows, and that means a breakout at 127, almost 128. And if that happens, you're going to get an upside objective of 150, 145, 146, let's call it. But before that, we have a head and shoulder bottom in progress. Well, I'm sorry. No, we don't. Now I'm going to erase these markers and the neckline and the head, because this low over here is way too low. That could have been the last shoulder low. It started to work pretty good. We had a breakout to the upside, and then we got a bearish engulfing I did not think was going to cause this big of a break, but it did close below the neckline on the same day of the bearish engulfing ER sell signals. We had all of that downside follow through in the next 2 days, which produced last week on Wednesday the lowest low. So although we're oversold right now, I can expect a little bounce. I have to go back to the drawing board, so to speak, but I still think major historical support could hold. I just want to see a little bit more strong activity. Maybe we're going to get a bullish engulfing and it'll turn green because we are oversold. And now any kind of a bullish engulfing within the next few days would create a buy signal, which I would like. Good price levels, support. Let's see what happens. 10-year notes, broad double bottom, again, starting October of 23. That means all of 24 until the first few months of 25. It's a year and a half approximately. Broad double bottom, and it's a lot better looking in the notes than it is in the bonds, a lot closer price levels. So on a longer term basis, we didn't get down to support. We didn't get oversold. I don't know, a little bit of a bounce here, I suppose. If it gets above that high, which I do not expect right away, that signal has worked. past tense. It produced a big down move. It just happened pretty quickly. Normally it might take, I don't know, a couple, 3, 4 weeks or something to drop off that much, but happened real fast. So that's now ancient history. So not real sure about interest rate futures momentarily. We're right up against a little bit of resistance for the last couple of months right in here. Well, we'll see. What do we got? Some buy signals and energies. Buy signal and crude oil got the bottom of the move, but we have no follow through yet. We don't have any closing prices above the high of the signal day. We just barely got above it the next day, which was Thursday of last week, and then pulled back. And now trying to come up somewhat to get a higher high. You get a higher low. The current tick is a little lower on the day at the moment, but I think it's trying to bottom out. I would be looking for a rally up to about 65 just to begin with. That's the minor one. Maybe a little lower than that, 64 and a half. And I'm not ruling out at all the possibility of 72-ish. And we got the bottom of the market also in heating oil, doing the same thing crude. Looking for a rally up to at least, well, we already got there real quick. Yeah, okay, so 2.1 up to about 2.2, and I'm certainly not ruling out 2.33. Next, bullish engulfing at the bottom so far, but we have no upside follow through. There's no higher high. This is simply taking a little bit longer to kick in, but I can't ignore the fact that all three of the energies I've just showed you, crude, natural gas, and heating oil, have buy signals. They're just not following through yet. We have gold. New highs for the trend. A doji today, down a little momentarily. Not overbought, but super close. So I'm still bullish. I'm not overbought. Maybe we're just slipping a little for a day or two. Nothing significant on the downside, and new highs to come very soon. That's what I think. Upside objectives have been fulfilled from this big pennant formation. That was it. And I put that vertical line on this chart, gosh, back in, early January, or somewhere in there. Okay. Watch for sell signals, but they're not happening. You're so close to overbought, I can't help but say that. But I would not be surprised if we didn't go up a little bit more before we get any sell signals, if we do. We're rallying on silver. We did get a buy signal close to the bottom, and that was last week. And it has had upside follow through and gotten to my first resistance level today, which was 32 and a half-ish. And I'm not going to be surprised if we get up to 33.5. And I think that it's well within reach, and 35 and a half could get reached in the next week or two, maybe a little quicker than that. So obviously bullish, buy signal, it's working. We just have to muddle through some of this resistance to see if it can't make a new high for the whole trend. Next, platinum. We did get, and we got two of them, buy signals last week, one on Wednesday, one on Friday. They are working. We are higher on the day. We're trading above the high for this rally since the first buy signal and the second one. This is doing great. Got oversold, had your outside up day. A couple of days later, did it again. Today, follow through. We're going to have a little trouble maybe around 978 and a half. And I wouldn't be surprised I'm expecting that to be reached in maybe 1030. Next, we had a buy signal again on copper. It's working. We've got higher highs on Friday. The signal was on Wednesday, a little dip on Thursday. New high close on Friday. And today we are high and last above the high of Friday, and now a little bit above the resistance area too. So now I'm looking for a move up to 4.8, maybe 4.9. And I could see even higher than that. We're nowhere near overbought. Lots of elbow room on the way up here. Next is soybeans, the grain complex. And I'll be doggone, some of them are looking pretty good. Soybeans are a new high now ever since late February. Okay, a month and a half. Not bad. Tested support, passed the test, almost got oversold, super close. Touched a previous bear trend line. Now that we're trading above it, it is now considered a bear support line because you're bouncing off of it. Granted, it's slightly lower prices over time because it slants downward, but a support line. And we tested it once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times. It basically bounced off the line. Pretty good. And now new highs for a month and a half. I like the story. It's looking good. Upside objective at a minimum 10, let's call it 1,100. But if we get there, stay there, close above it, we have a major breakout to the upside with a very substantial sideways trading range since August of last year. And now you're looking at way over half a year. That is going to produce an upside objective, if we can get that high and break out, up to 1207, and maybe a lot more. But the breakout doesn't occur until we close above 1100. So we got 50 plus cents, 60 cents or so to go. Next, we tried to get above Friday's high, which was a new high on Friday for a few days. It is already fairly close to a significant upside breakout. If we start closing above 48.5, almost positively, we're going to start closing above this line here. That is a neckline on a double shoulder, one shoulder, two, the head, second inside shoulder, and there's the second outside shoulder. So you got 1, 2 on the left, the bottom, 1, 2 on the right, a double shoulder, head and shoulder bottom, neckline slightly upward slanting. If we break out, we're going to be getting an upside objective of approximately 62, which is very substantial considering we're trading at 46.5. All we need, in my opinion, is a break above 48.50 on a close. Not very far away. Dipping a little bit today. Don't see anything bearish happening, really. Let's just fiddle around here and start to work our way higher again. Next, I'm bullish. Soybean meal got oversold, has rallied back up to some resistance, but here we have a different story. Soybean meal broke in a new low ground, stayed in new low ground a week or two ago, and trended even lower for a few days, finally getting oversold. That's a new low for a very long period of time, multiple years. Now the rally is only up to resistance. So we have to get above the resistance level, above let's say 310 on a closing basis in order to look a lot better. Then you've got to get above 330 in order to have any significant bottom built. But if we do that, we will probably be getting up to this trend line, which I should drag to the right a little bit more. It's going to take a week or two. Yep, that's right. You'll be getting up to and through resistance, up to and through a bear trend line, and making new highs for an extended period of time since October, and it will probably be next month. That's pretty good. That's going to be 6 months or so worth of new highs, if we can do it. And again, I need to see 330 plus. Let's see what happens. I'm very concerned about the resistance that we have on this meal chart. What about corn? Not so much. Corn, still a bottom formation. First shoulder, buy signal, February 26th. Head of the formation, which was in itself a small head and shoulder bottom, and that was August 27. I think the low on these 2 days is exactly to the tick the same. And it was a small head and shoulder bottom that worked past tense. That's all come and gone. But the pattern is the head of the bigger one, where we just now, in the last couple of weeks, have started to move up from the last shoulder low, which is a double bottom by itself, which, in fact, we got a buy signal on the second low. Perfect. March 28th. So this is looking pretty good, but we got overbought Thursday and Friday and today, and we're pulling back a little bit at the moment. So big deal. Coming down to 477, maybe a little lower than that, but back up again. New highs soon, if not real soon. Getting above the resistance levels is going to get closer and closer to this neckline. Now, the corn has a minimum upside objective of 633 if it can cross above on a closing basis approximately 516, 17, 18. And that's not that far away, 50 cents. Keep your eyes on this, but it's overbought right now. Little dip this week maybe, and then starting to head north again. Wheat, new lows to the trend, but it didn't stay down there. False downside breakout. So wheat's got some resistance it poked at on Friday and today, pulling back a little bit at the moment. Let's see if the wheat market can start to show us some more strength, making new highs for longer periods of time. Getting through 575 will be the first good bullish indication for intermediate to longer term. If I can get a buy signal out of this, which does not look likely because we're already substantially above oversold, let's just see. I'm trying to, again, develop longer term bullish stories here that have come and gone over the last several months. Next, cattle. Buy signal on Wednesday. Today, coming right up close to making a new high since Wednesday. It's working, starting to work. And cattle, looking good. There's a gap to close. I'm expecting at least 203.4 area and maybe a new high for the whole trend here. We got a buy signal back on this low also on March 4th. Perfect. We got a buy signal back here on November 15th. Perfect. Let's see what this one can do. So far, so good. I should put this little circle around the signal. Okay. And that's it. To bring attention visually to that signal. Hogs. Don't know what's going on here. I have to figure this out. I'm not going to say anything about Miss Piggy. I think it may be getting delisted or something. I don't know. That's an unusually small trading range, and it started a few days ago also. But it is still trading, just coming down some. I'll have to look into that. Two stocks. One we have Shell, S-H-E-L, bought the bottom of the market, or rather, I had a buy signal on the low day. I'll put it that way. Not really working yet, but up on the day a little bit at the moment. I need to get above and stay above 64.50 to feel a lot more confident that we're going to be going up to at least 69.50 to close a big gap. Big gap. And there's another one even higher than that at 71.87. Now, depending upon what the other indexes are tending to do at the time, this could see new highs completely for many months. I'm not ruling that out, above 75. That looks like an extremely good signal, just taking a little bit of time to get it through our ending gear. And Apple, already today, gapped up. Now, one could claim that you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trading day island bottom. Island bottoms, you gap down, trade for a day, usually one day, and gap up again, and that one day of price action is below and gapping down previous lows on the way down. In this case, it's 6 days, and there is a space between the highest high in the previous 6 days before today and the high of the 6-day range and the lows, of the previous trading days. So this is not really an island bottom, or is it? Again, they're very, very, very rare to see anything more than 2 days island, and usually they're one day only. back to E-mini, 3 or 4 points higher, kind of going a little bit sideways here. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.